The first half of the last century was defined by a battle of three ideologies who wanted all to conquer the world. One died and the other two kept fighting. I'm the political ferret and I want to explore with you these wannabe world conquerors. First of all, the problem we face is quite simple. It is that every system tries to rule and to rule alone. If we would decide that there are different systems and laws and people want to live just differently, we could make places for them, build borders around it, and everybody could live happily, following their own way. I think most of the people want that and accept that. But the radicals can't accept it, and those who depend on the struggle because they get something out of that, they also can't accept that. They want the whole world. So in the last century, three major players were all materialists. The materialistic collectivism, vulgar known as the socialist, the individualistic materialists, vulgar known as the capitalists, and the hybrid of both, who become quite famous as fascism. So what's the big link? Well, they all agree that production is the way to economic power, and economic power is the way to victory. Labor, technology, production, and money. And you can swing between them with relative ease. But I hear you say, hey, you forgot nationalism. No, I did not. Nationalism is focused on one issue, and it's not a whole ideology. You see, nationalists just want to divide the world into subgroups. The opposition to that is globalism. Every ideology can come in a globalist or more or less nationalistic version. As an example, Stalin wanted socialism in one state. That's a nationalistic approach. Mao Zedong wanted a world revolution, the globalist version. Trump wants a nationalistic capitalistic system. Soros wants a globalized capitalistic system. And so on and so on. And you can even have an anarcho-communist punk nation. No problem. Nation is not inherently linked to the right wing. You can have an ultra left wing nation. Please understand that. So, back to materialism. Materialism is something quite new historically speaking. Till then, the West was dominated by Christianity and it didn't care that much for production. Again, only materialistic ideologies care about production, the workforce, money, wealth distribution, and so on. For spiritual ideologies, these are mere tools, like religion is now just a tool for most of us. Well, we know the story. The hybrid did not really die, but lost quite a lot of its power, and the other two, who adopted some traits from the hybrid, kept fighting, but in the shadow of those giants, another movement, one that had no focus on materialism, re-emerged, religion collectivism, with the name of Islam. The movement was a big player for the last 1,500 years, but had no chance in the industrialized world. I would have to argue that socialism also did not die, although American historians would love to make you believe that. It just changed its way of fighting to a more decentralized tactics. Collectivist materialists is still in play, and it plays a hard role. And what is important is that in essence, communism is a materialistic ideology. They want a better life, not a better soul. So why is Islam not materialistic? Because they pursue a spiritual goal. They don't pursue the building of large production capabilities. They don't care. The tradition of Islam is based upon a tradition of herdsmen. Trade has only one purpose. It can be exploited. The word razzia comes from that. Robbing the unfaithful is absolutely okay. See the Surah 4.8 and 6.9 and to a degree 6.1. In Surah 8 it stated that a fifth of the raid has to be delivered to the Prophet. Economic warfare, the exploitation of trade, of others of course, is an essential part of this ideology, and that makes it so alien for the global north. We think the big struggle is capitalism versus socialism, and forgot that there are other ideologies who are not materialistic, ideologies that don't fit in this worldview, ideologies who are so different that we can't understand them because we are so used to see everything through the lens of materialism. Remember, materialism is quite young. It is based on a new tradition, on the tradition of production, of money, of specialization, of trade. I think this is the one big problem we have with understanding of Islam. Most people try to find out how Islam fits in this materialistic worldview that is so dominated by these two extremes. And it does not, because it's something completely different. So why does Islam has now power? Well, we industrialized the Muslim world, mostly the West, and at least for a degree, but they never adopted materialism in the sense of pursuing production. The Arab world didn't start to build cars or planes or even modern weapons. We provide them with all this stuff and they give us oil. Wherever they take power, the production collapses. But they don't care. From their point of view, the gun in their hands doesn't come from a factory. It comes from Allah. This principle is known as apologetics, the idea that cause and effect isn't a thing, which is quite prominent in all non-materialistic worldviews, also in Christianity. That's the reason that real science, and I mean that ones where they deal with numbers, is quite linked to materialism. And that's the reason why not so many highly religious Nobel Prize winners are around. So are there more ideologies? Of course. But these three are the big players right now. So there are of course facets to them. And there is always in-group fighting. I mean, remember the Chinese and the Russians fight about who is the right communist, and all this Muslim infighting about who is the true believers. There's always infighting. But in essence, these are the three big groups who wants the world and who could get it. The question we should ask ourselves, do we want that? If we follow the road of no borders, we end up with one state. Not no state, one state. No borders, no state, that doesn't work. And this state will paint it in one of those colors. One law, one tradition, one way of life will prevail, the others will vanish. One. The idea that different cultures could coexist is a fairy tale. They could mix up, perhaps, but normally one dominates the other. If you have one state, you have one law. If you have contradictory laws, you would have defined where one will apply to. And if you do that, you have just reinvented borders. But is it necessary? I mean, do we all have to live in the same system? Could we not just coexist as different groups side by side? Divided, yes, but respectfully divided. Or perhaps not even respectfully. I mean, who needs respect? Divided in tolerance to each other. Wouldn't that be a better solution? There could be a hardcore capitalist bloc here and a communist bloc there, an Islam bloc over there, and another 100 types of different forms, facets, or whatever. Sounds like a strange idea? Oh, it is. I would say it's revolutionary. Could we do that? Could this be a way to everlasting peace? Could you accept that somewhere on earth people live voluntarily in a way you find utterly disgusting? Let me know in the comments. Like always, thanks for listening. Share on social media if you want to provoke some thoughts. And have a great day.